So I just got done watching the joint session of Congress with Donald Trump. And first thing I'd say is I'm a political junkie and I've been a political junkie since I was 16. That was really hard to listen to after 2 hours in. He said some things as far as like what he's accomplished so far. There has been a shift as far as immigration policy in the US, which people actually support. And Donald Trump is delivering on it, even though I don't think we need to be as draconian as Donald Trump is trying to be. But it's what people wanted. Secondly, the whole thing with the Democrats not standing up for anything. I mean, when they disrupted and Alan Green got kicked out, if you want to make a real political statement, if I was a Democrat sitting there, I think they all collectively should have just walked out. But the Democrats are cowards and they'll just sit there with their fucking signs and virtue signal saying, hey, don't cut these vital programs. And then they're really good at dropping the ball or really good at surrendering. And they'll just be like, oh, we're going to let them cut these programs anyways, because we secretly don't care about these people either. But hey, they don't know how to play politics. So here we are. That's why Donald Trump was elected twice. The things that I think were just insane for Trump to say, then again, it's Donald Trump. He's going to say insane stuff as far as like Greenland and the Panama Canal. And he's like, they're going to give it back to us and we will take it back if necessary. And I'm just like, Donald Trump, you ran on being a non interventionist and anti war. Seems pretty warmongering, if you ask me, to be like, hey, we're going to take this and it is what it is. And also, there was a kid who's battling cancer or he's beaten cancer. He was given like 5 months to live and he's 6 years later still alive. And for Democrats not to stand up for that and clap, is kind of messed up and just shows that everyone just hates Donald Trump if you happen to have a D next to your name. I don't hate Donald Trump. I'm agnostic on the guy, but he does say some things that are pretty indefensible. And if you're a Donald Trump supporter watching this, I'm trying to reach people who I think can be reached. A lot of people who voted for Donald Trump voted for Barack Obama, and it's not like those people are forever gone or somehow should be disowned from society, which just seems to be the Democrats' strategy at this point. Hey, if they're a Trump supporter, they're secretly fascist and hate America. They just think incrementalism from the Democrats simply just doesn't work, especially because there's really no difference between these two parties. And I actually learned something from this joint session of Congress. I didn't know that the EU has spent more money propping up the Russian war machine by buying their oil than they have with military spending when it comes to Ukraine. That's kind of messed up if you ask me. If you truly think this is an existential threat, and if I was someone from the EU, I would be like, no, these people might attack us. So we're not going to actually support the war machine by buying their oil. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Hence Donald Trump saying like, hey, EU, get your shit together, because if you guys are going to fund the Russian war machine, then you can't say that, oh, we're really that worried about it because we have the United States backing us. It also seems like Donald Trump's trying to mend some fences with Ukraine. We'll have to wait and see how this actually plays out, because Zelensky apparently doesn't know anything about diplomacy and doesn't know who he's dealing with. If you're dealing with Donald Trump, all you have to do is kiss his ass and he'll actually do what you're asking him to do, as long as you can convince him that your interests are aligned. But Zelensky's not capable of that. And people are like browbeating Donald Trump for calling Zelensky ungrateful. And Joe Biden actually called him ungrateful as well. But that's the media we live in. They just have different standards for Trump. And the people who love Trump loved a lot of the things he threw out there, red meat to the base, like with trans issues and stuff like this. If you want to know where I fall on that line, I literally don't care. This is an issue I just don't give a shit about. My opinion, if you're 18, you can do whatever the hell you want. If you want to be a woman and you're a man, I don't care. If you're a man and you want to be a woman, I don't care. And if you're a man, you think you're a broom, I don't care. You can do whatever you want. And men should compete in men's sports and women should compete in women's sports. I think this is pretty simple, but this isn't my department. I don't really care about social issues in the United States when it comes to like women's sports and shit like this. I care more or less about economic policy and foreign policy. And also listening to this, he talks more or less about tariffs as more of a negotiation tool. I don't really think he's going to keep doing trade wars with other countries that are friendly to the United States. I agree, if you're going to slap tariffs on the United States, then we're going to slap them right back on you. Even though I'm a free trade person, I think we should just have goods and services as cheap as possible. He also pointed out some of his wins as far as these tariff threats actually working. Apple did say they're going to make a $500 billion investment in America. And he pointed it out, and Democrats won't stand up and clap for that. So fuck America, I guess, if you're a Democrat sitting in that chamber. And it was also pretty funny when he pointed out, like, Pocahontas, aka Elizabeth Warren, who's kind of an ideologue. There were some good things that Elizabeth Warren did as far as creating the Financial Protection Bureau. I think we should have a cop on Wall Street, but that's been dismantled by Elon Musk. I mean, what could go wrong, right? I will say I did get a hint of like nativism from this whole thing, and that kind of concerns me a little bit. I agree with the USA chants, but it just seems kind of draconian, and you don't have to say USA, USA. We all know that we all support the United States. But overall, the whole thing was kind of hard to watch near the end. And if you're a Donald Trump person, you're going to be like, it was the greatest speech ever. And if you're a never Trumper, you're going to be like, this is the worst speech ever made in Congress. To me, it was just meh.